We're currently in the financial district of Boston. In the industrial period, this was known as the garment district. Textiles and leathers were produced here. In 1872, a fire began here in this district. In those days, the sweatshops were very poorly maintained, and fire safety laws were little more than suggestions. The chemicals used for dyeing the cloths, paper, were stored in the uppermost floors and were excellent fuel for the fire. They were out of reach of the hoses, which could not shoot the water high enough. The fire went on for more than 12 hours and more than 30 people died. 775 buildings burned to the ground. Survivors recounted seeing gas lamps igniting and blowing up like rockets all along the streets. After that, the only businesses willing to rebuild here were the banks and insurance companies. Today, banking is the biggest business in the city, followed by education and tourism. This is stop number 16, where you may visit the Tea Party Museum, which is right over the channel. South Boston was not harmed because of the fire, but the economy still went down severely after the construction of the elevated expressway, which I'll be talking about momentarily. Again, stop number 16.
Thank you for the tour. Very, very nice.
Glad you liked it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That was very nice.
All right, a moment. This is 907 at stop 16.
Alright, there should be 2 people around there that need to be picked up. Just let you know.
Okay, I'm looking around right now. I just let a bunch of people off, but there doesn't seem to be anybody looking to approach the trolley right now.
Alright, no problem. Thank you.
The Fitzgerald Elevated Expressway once stood above where we are now. It was built in 1957 and acted as a sort of wall between the financial district and South Boston. It was demolished starting in 2000, and by 2006 it was completely gone and replaced by the tunnel beneath us. Thanks to the tunnel, air quality in Boston has improved more than 12%. Greenway was built here. It was completed in 2008, and by Victorian route from South Station to the North End. Now we're coming up on stop number 1. The New England Aquarium is to our right. Quincy Market is accessible from here. The main entrance to Quincy Market is over on the left, past the intersection. Here we are. Please watch your step as you exit. Don't forget your belongings. In the back. Switching out drivers now. Hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
You're doing well.
Oh, I'm sure Brooke will do a satisfactory job.
Only satisfied.
Still fighting.
Oh boy. Warmed up wet. Thank Okay, it's all yours. See ya.
You? Are you one of them? Dawn! I'm Benedict. I promise I won't kill you.
Oh, yeah.
On purpose. Might have some Okay, everybody, welcome. We did a little quick driver switcheroo. And of course, he's taller than me, so the steering wheel was like up here. Put it down, and we're gonna go in just about a second. Head off on a tour of Boston. So today is it's Columbus Day weekend. Hi, welcome. And tomorrow's Columbus Day, so there's going to be a parade going through town today. So it is kind of rerouting us a little bit, I think, possibly. There we go. This is the one with the weird door you have to hit like 6 times before it'll close. So here comes a guy, or lady, I didn't see her until she's right next to me. She's going to be selling balloons and stuff. The parade is going to go through here, so let's get out of here really fast before it ends up. It was one of those things where we're sitting down here waiting and we're like, please, 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 please don't come through here. So I might be rerouting us a little bit. We might be not going to stop 6. That's at the garden, the TD garden. But we should be able to hit all other stops currently. So I think you guys maybe hit it at the right time before they closed all the roads. But it's going to come right down here, going through the north end, which we are about to drive through. Also lucky that we didn't leave a few minutes later because we wouldn't be able to get through the north end. And the north end is pretty darn awesome. So that's what's going on as of right now. If anything changes, I'll let you know as it goes along. It's like the parade's only like an hour long, not even a half hour long, and they're kind of opening and closing roads as it goes by. So it's not going to shut down the whole city, Leslie, but just putting it out there. Anywho, we're going to head into the north end. So the reason the Columbus Day Parade is going to go through the north end a little bit is because this is our big Italian neighborhood. This is the oldest neighborhood in the whole city. This is the area that was originally founded in 1630. And throughout the years, it was marked by varying waves of immigration coming in here, different groups of people coming in here and settling until about the 1920s, when this area had become 90% Italian immigrants. So to this day, this is our big Italian neighborhood. There's like 150 Italian restaurants. So y'all might be hungry later. Perhaps you might want to come down to this area. The main drag through the north end is Hanover Street. So Hanover Street is a couple blocks off to the left on any of the side streets except this one, because this is a fake street. It looks like a real street to the left, but it's really a parking lot. But any of the other streets you head down, you'll end up down at Hanover Street, where you get most of the Italian places, although they're all over. So we're right next to the water. We've got a little marina here on the right. This is Lewis Wharf. Back in the 17 and 1800s, this would have been an active commercial wharf. Ships coming in and out all day and all night. And that big gray stone building on the right, that was part of that active commercial wharf. Today, that's like $1 million condos. It's gotten a ton pricier along the water these days. Well, this is going to be stop 2. Stop 2 is for the north end. This is also the stop for Paul Revere's house. It's about a 2-minute walk from here. It was built in 1680, and it's like visiting a house from 1680, which I think is kind of neat. Stop 2, anybody? Paul Revere, Italian food.
Will we be able to get, like, later on?
Yeah, so the trolleys, I'm going to say, we're not quite sure what's happening around between like 12:30 and 2, but after that, trolleys will continue to come through here. I don't honestly have any idea what time it's going to show up down here, unfortunately. My crazy door, there we go. Nobody does, including the city officials. So it's not just us. So we don't head down to Paul Revere's house. I wish we could, but the streets, it's hard to tell from here, but the further up you get into the north end, the narrower the streets get. They're basically the same streets from the 1700s. They haven't really widened them over the years. And back then, they only had to be wide enough for a pregnant cow to pass down. And we are just a tad wider than a pregnant cow, just a little bit. But we pass all these wharves. That building back there said Union Wharf. This one says Lincoln Wharf. That one said Battery Wharf. This all used to be these active commercial wharves, and a lot of shipbuilding went on down here. And the USS Constitution was built down here right at the edge of Battery Wharf back in the 1790s. And USS Constitution still exists. We'll head over to it in just a bit. All of this is $1 million condos these days, by the way. I was talking to somebody who had a friend who went and looked at one of them, and it was a 2-bedroom for $3 million. Oh yeah, up in the neighborhood, it's not that expensive. Now, I mentioned Paul Revere. He lived here. He was a wealthy guy. He was a bell caster, silversmith, goldsmith, coppersmith. He was even a dentist. He made metal teeth. And we mostly know him for being a courier for the Sons of Liberty during the American Revolution. He did over 100 rides with them. But his most famous ride was the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. That happened April 18th in 1775. So, Midnight Ride. The Boston are occupying the city of Boston at this point. The British are occupying the city of Boston, and they're going to head about 20 miles out of town to Lexington, arrest Sam Adams and John Hancock, then head to the next town over of Concord, sees the munitions the colonists have stored there. So if you look off to the left, up this little side street, at the top there's the steeple for the Old North Church. Paul Revere is spying on the British to see if they head out to Lexington the land route or if they take a boat. When he sees them getting into their boats, he has 2 lanterns hung in that steeple to signal to the colonial militia outside of town that the British are heading out by boat. So that's the 1 if by land, 2 if by sea steeple. So Paul Revere, he didn't hang the lanterns up there himself. He had the sexton, Robert Newman, hang them up. And he was hanging out down here, like right at the edge of the water, watching. And once he sees those 2 lanterns, he jumps into a rowboat over on the right, gets rowed across the water to Charlestown, where he jumps onto a horse and rides off to Lexington, warning people along the way that the regulars are out. Nobody said the British are coming back then. Everybody considered themselves British. Wouldn't have made sense. But they called the British troops the regulars, so the regulars are out. So Paul Revere, he gets to Lexington. He warns Sam Adams and John Hancock, who leave town. And he, oh, this is not the stop, okay. And he, I guess, hang on, we'll stop here. Let's see if they even have our tickets. Hi. Yes. I think so. This isn't the stop. The stop's actually up on the other side of the stoplight. Let me see, 2. Let me check and see how many seats I've got. I can't allow people to stand, unfortunately. 2, 4, 6. I got like 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's hard to see. Yeah, I think we've got 8 if somebody sits in that middle seat all the way in the back. I've got 8, but they're all kind of separated around. Sorry, the cop is really giving me a dirty look. It's really not our stop, unfortunately.
It says your stop there.
Yeah, it's our stop. It's just up ahead where the bus stop is.
Oh, yeah, we couldn't read that. We just know how to read this stuff.
It's okay. Sorry, I'm just now there's a cop there and he's giving me dirty looks.
Just wait light.
Oh yeah, that doesn't make them yell at you.
Can we open the window? Is that possible?
I can't stop here. We've got to wait until we get to the next stop to be able to open some windows. I'm sorry. This is just, it's not legally stopped here.
Thank you for stopping.
Okay. Yeah, I just can't sit here, unfortunately. And I gotta make sure there's nobody up at stop number 3. Anyway, if anybody wants stop 3, it's for more of the North End and the Old North Church. And people are gathering here to start the parade, so I think we're okay. Alright, I've got to head over to stop 4, sorry. Next stop is going to be stop 4. We're going to leave the North End here. We got to head across the water into Charlestown. Get a nice view of the harbor from up here. There we go. A nice view of the harbor out here. More people playing tennis. Here it is over here on the right. Oh, that's the Spirit of Boston. Yeah, it's the Spirit of Boston. So it looks exactly like the other ship called the Odyssey. It's like a super fancy harbor cruise. They have lunch, dinner, drinks. People have wedding receptions on there. Now, over here on the right, there's this nice marina, all the way out to the piers. All of this on the right used to be a giant Navy base from 1800 up until 1974. It was a big, giant Navy base. Got closed in 74, unfortunately. A lot of bases did. There's a marina, there's a hotel, there's like offices and stuff. But there's still one little section called the Charlestown Navy Yard that we are heading toward. That is mostly owned and run by the National Park Service these days. They still have the USS Constitution down there. So I mentioned that over on the other side. USS Constitution is the oldest commissioned warship in the world. She was commissioned in 1797. She never lost a battle. She's also known as Old Ironsides, and she is still a commission in the U.S. Navy. So if you were to join the Navy, you could possibly get assigned to the Constitution. Now, she is currently in dry dock. She's going to be in dry dock for the next 3 years for major repairs to her hull. Okay, this guy's not understanding how a stop sign works. Alright, she's going to be in dry dock for the next 3 years. They are still giving tours of her, though. So you can get on tour, you can get tours, you can ask the Navy folks, you know, what it's like to be on a ship from the 1800s. There's also the Constitution Museum straight up in front of us. This is also going to be the stop for the Bunker Hill Monument. Bunker Hill Monument's about a 7-minute walk along the Freedom Trail up to the top of the hill. Nobody's getting off here. So
we'll one.
Are you getting off? I'm sorry, I'm totally full. I think a couple people are getting off already. I have a good day. I'm just gonna get my head on that too.
Another one will.
Come on, let's go play.
Yep, right back here. Should be every about 15 to 20 minutes. That's our next stop. All right, I've got 2 seats. There's a group of 2. All right, the next one should be Alana. I'll let him know you guys are here. He's got a little bit busy in the middle of the day. Okay, you're all set.
Can you open this window?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
I might get you guys to. Sorry.
Thank you.
You guys,
I mean, a bunch of people are, a lot of people are getting off the next stop. It's going to get a lot cooler in
Thank you. That's great, because otherwise we can't take pictures. Yeah, I know.
that was,
I mean, you guys are sitting there. I'm just going to roll it up.
That must be.
We passed all the stops for the parade. Yeah, this one if you want to walk back. This one if you want to walk back. So maybe like a... I'm sorry, I'm totally full?
I know, if you want to, yeah, super cruise coming from you.
Yes, they'll pick up right up there. That white yellow, yes.
How far is it?
Maybe like a 7-minute walk from here. Follow the but I'm going the opposite direction. I have to leave though. So if you guys want to... You can't really get into stop 7 right now because the parade is blocking it as far as I know.
Let's go, let's walk through. Let's follow Triple Trim.
Yes, let brick line go that direction.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, I got 2 more now. I got 2 more. There's a group of 2. Forward. You're all set. I don't do that. They can do it when you get into stop 13 or stop 1. I don't carry a ticket machine on board, but they'll be able to do that for you at those other stops. Okay? Yeah, it's no big deal until then. All right, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna head up to stop number 5 for the duck splash. Call and talk to my boss really fast.
That's us,
We're going to kind of drive along next to this old Navy yard. It's been a Navy yard for a while. In fact, some of this stuff has been converted into things that are pretty interesting. Like, interesting, kind of funny. I mean, that over there on the left, that's $1 million condos once again. Now, the funny thing about that is when they bought those condos, like 10 years ago, they somehow didn't seem to get the memo that for the last 100 years, the Constitution has been setting off its cannon every morning at sunrise and every evening at sunset. Yeah, so they tried to sue the U.S. Navy to get them to stop doing it. Yeah, it didn't work, by the way. They did not.